High five. That was work well done. Do you know this song?
Yeah,
You know it because you're playing it, or did you ever hear the first original version?
I've heard the first original version.
I think you've done a good job with it. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yay! If this was a reality TV show and I was a judge, I'd give you a 10 out of 10. There's a reason why Nish is joining us on set today. It's all about great music. Now, last year we sat with a man called Enock Kong. Do you remember his story? His kidneys had a problem and his brother Nick donated a kidney. He promised us in that show that moving forward with his life, it was all about investing in the next generation, the chosen generation. And Nish is only one of them. You're going to get up close and personal with the rest of them in a matter of moments. But first, we'll live out loud with Enock Kong next. Hello and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud. I'm so glad you found this channel. I hope you've clicked subscribe. Remember to do so and hit notifications. And once you do that, after the end of this video, please share it. Tell a friend, and then tell another friend. And we're living out loud at the Westwood Hotel in Nairobi, Kenya. And we're catching up with Enock Kong. Enock, how are you?
Fine.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We spoke together exactly, well, give or take a few days, a year ago. And we're catching up to find out how it's been, the year that was, and of course, the future. So for anybody who's tuning in and has no idea about the backstory, you can just share it with us, kidogo.
My name is Enock. I had a kidney transplant about 2 years ago. And I thank God this is about 2.5 years and I am fine. I am healthy, I am functioning, and God is blessing the things I am doing. So I'm really happy. And most of all is that this is the desire of my heart. It was my dream all along. So,
right.
You know.
I remember sitting with you and we caught up with you and your brother, Nick, who donated the kidney. How's he doing?
He's fine. He's fine too.
Up and running.
Up and running, busy.
All is well with him.
Yes.
And you know, when we talked about what happened to you and he shared about his concerns for you and his love for you, and most importantly, his support, because he said, Enock is very gifted and there's so much that he has to share with the world. And for him to donate the kidney, it was not something he had to think long and hard about. It was, he needs it, I'm going to do it. And so I'd like us to look at what happened and what you've been up to since we last chatted. You promised us a chosen generation. And what we're seeing is unbelievable. The young people that you're working with, let's go back to that core.
At that time, I was setting up the school, music school. I've had the band for a while. You know, I've had for several years. Some of the students you see have been with me in the band.
Right.
But as time has gone, I've gotten new students. Nish is an example of a new student I've had for the last 2 weeks, and he's able to play UB40's I Can't Help Falling in Love.
Wait a minute. The young man who started us off at the beginning of this episode has only been playing for 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks.
He sounds like that after 2 weeks.
After 2 weeks. He'd had lessons previously with from another teacher.
Right.
But his sight reading skills have come up.
I know, because he was reading sheet music.
Yes.
I took a look. I was checking.
Yeah.
Make sure there weren't any cartoons and he was playing from memory.
Yeah, he's reading.
Wow.
He's reading and he's working on his grade 1 Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music. And so he's now able to play in the band. And that's my excitement because it takes a little time for my students to pick up.
All right. Yeah. This passion for music, where did it come from? Was it something you always knew you were going to do? Or is it something that came with a change in life after the transplant?
No. Actually, when I was young, remember my brother said I used to protect them?
Yes.
I used to fight a lot. And I was a boxer. Like every end of class, you know, at around 4:30, there would be a fight. But it was painful.
Right.
And so one day I told my aunt. My aunt has passed on now. She's called Priska. She told me, you know, if boxing is not that good. You could try music. And it lit a light bulb all of a sudden.
Right.
And then, I was listening to Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, and all that. And I thought that would be really cool to do. So my
Your
dream was
knuckles
to,
were happy too.
yes, yeah, my dream was to become a musician. But, as time went along, I didn't have a mentor to help me get there. So I've literally struggled my way, up until I got to this far. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Talking about music and looking at the next generation, the chosen generation, I feel they have tapped into so many other avenues that our generation and previous generations didn't have. A lot more parents are willing to contemplate a career in music. More parents are open to the idea of my child is a digital media strategist, or my child is a model, or my child is a graphic designer or jeweler. Parents are a bit more open to other career options as opposed to you have to be an accountant, you have to be a doctor, you have to, there were certain established paths. And looking at the children that you're working with, is that something that you sometimes have to struggle with parents to convince them and show them, actually, this can happen? Or is it something that they come in and say, I expect my Michael Jackson in the next 5 years?
It is. It's not even only parents. Even fellow teachers in a school.
Yeah.
You'd fight over time, fight over, preparation, time with the child. And you'd even find some of them discouraging the children. So the community hasn't really embraced creative arts and, forms of employment that are out of the usual,
Yeah.
sciences and so on. So it's a challenge. But there's a generation of parents who are keen to see what their children are able to do and are very supportive of children who are passionate in a particular direction. And these are examples of some of those families because they even come during the holidays and we spend quite a lot of time,
Preparing for the next step and the
Yes,
future.
yes.
Taking a look at starting up the band and being able to teach children these skills, you've been able to perform for many different people. So tell us about concerts, performances that you've been lucky to do since we last met.
Yeah, Chosen Generation has been there for a while. And we've performed. Previously, I was actually a young person in the band.
Yeah.
So, I was leading a group of young men. And at some point, we performed before the former president, Moi.
Wow.
And one of the members asked his security detail that we would like to see him. So I wasn't aware. So when he came, he asked, what do you want? So I quickly thought, a photograph, and he was really baffled because most people ask for other
Land,
things.
money,
And he
houses.
he took
Work.
that photo with us
Yeah.
and made so many copies and looked for us to come back again to pick it from him.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's, that was really inspiring. We've since performed in many other avenues with several other people, including
Yeah.
this band. We've performed at Parliament
Right.
for Open Day. We've even performed in State House, for a Christmas concert.
Fantastic.
And so, we've had several occasions. But we are a gospel group, so we perform a lot in churches and schools.
And it's great that it comprises a lot of young people because then you perform to young audiences. While it's a mixed audience, there are also youngsters around who think, if only I could see someone who's doing what I want to do at my age. And it helps others see the possibility that you don't have to wait until 5 years are over and then you're grown up and then you can buy an instrument, that you can actually start living your dream in the here and now. Talking about getting membership, finding the talent, where do you go to find these young kids? Because they come from different places.
Yes.
How do you find them?
In the interactions we have, wherever we go and perform, parents are interested. We performed at Windsor over Christmas for their tree lighting ceremony. And, a parent came to me and asked if they would have their child join. And, their child joined us and we were able to work for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And also my previous engagements in schools, in my previous school, churches a lot, and also referrals. I bump into a student who's interested in learning an instrument,
Yeah.
and that's how we pick it up and move on that way.
And how often do you get to meet, rehearse, and work together?
We meet every Saturday and Sunday. Saturday for choir, Sunday for band.
Okay, so it's split in half. There's the
Yes.
choir and there's the
Instrumental
instrumental section.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the vocal singers, we mainly focus on Saturdays, and there's a lot of singing that goes on. During the week, I have individual voice lessons
Right.
with various students who now congregate on Saturday, and so we're able to work on various pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
In looking at working with young people during the weekend, during off hours when they've got a lot of free time on their hands, I can't help but think this keeps them busy. And we've all been told an idle mind and the devil's workshop. But being able to instill new skills in young people who otherwise would be just on their phone and scrolling, this is giving them a skill. This is helping them interact with others. There are all sorts of benefits that come with taking on music. Can you elaborate on a few others that I may not have mentioned?
One that I know that is very useful is that music affirms you instantly. So you'd find a child who probably is despised by friends or doesn't do very well in class, and they learn how to play an instrument, and when they perform on a concert, they are instantly appreciated by their parents, by their friends, and that just builds into their confidence, self-confidence. Before too long, they're doing well academically. So that's one area that sociologically
There
music
is some kind
develops.
of correlation
Yes,
there.
there's a correlation.
Right.
And music also disciplines a student's mind. When you're preparing for an exam or any form of presentation, you require a lot of concentration and thorough preparation. That's what music does to you, because for you to come up with a good piece, you have to have gone over it, understood it, and practice it over and over until it's perfect. And so it prepares the students to be diligent in their studies. And so even study skills and so on are easily learnt through music training.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking a look at the future, what you would like to see, not just with Chosen Generation, because you've come a long way, with what you know about life, with what you've been able to experience, what do you see in the next 1 year, the next 2 years, ultimately the future?
For this generation, for the youth globally, I think, we're going through a communication revolution. That's why, the internet is impacting lives in various ways. And so a child in Africa is almost at the same level with a child in Europe today. So music is one skill that depends a lot on communication. And music in Kenya particularly now is growing. And so if this generation taps into that, it's going to be the next gold mine that we're going to have. And that's why I think it's high time for such institutions like Chosen Generation Music School to come up so that they can mentor the skills, because most of the artists we have may not have gone through formal training, but they already have it naturally because of the social upbringing we have in our communities, where music is part of our life.
Yeah.
So with learning instruments, with a particular curriculum like ABRSM, they really go far with what they are able to do. Yeah. So.
All right. You've talked about the youth. What about you as
myself.
Enock? Because
Oh.
we've got a relationship now, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
We're walking with you.
Yeah.
And there's always been curiosity. A lot of people reach out on social media and say, we watched Enock's story. How is he doing? How is his brother? What's he working on? So the question is now, what happens next for Enock?
I'm looking at this project becoming fully fledged. I have gotten support from a group called Team Transforming Kenya. They have given me a place to work from, and they give me opportunities to perform here and there. So in the next 1 or 2 years, I am seeing the group really, this project really getting a full life of its own.
Right.
The baby steps I've taken for this 1 year have been successful. I've not slept hungry. You know, as you can see, I'm still healthy. I'm
You're still
alive.
healthy and you're
I
doing
get my
good.
drugs, you know, and all
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
so I really thank God because it's working. While I was employed, I used to struggle a lot to keep this and work.
Yeah.
But now when this is all I do and it actually works.
It's called being in purpose.
Yes.
And there's
So,
provision for
yes,
purpose.
yes.
But when you're out of purpose,
Yeah.
then everything is
It's scattered all
a
over the
bit
place.
of a struggle.
Yes. So I thank God at least it's, you know, this is happening. And in the next 1 or 2 years,
Yeah.
I believe we will have at least one production of our own that is that would be well prepared for.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we look forward to that. Of course, our doors remain open. It's always great to touch base with family. You were there when we started out the channel, and so it's nice to walk together and always check on each other and see, how are you doing? How can I plug in? What's going on here? So the doors always remain open. Thank you. Thank you so much, Enock. I hope the curiosity in you has been satisfied. It was so wonderful to catch up with Mr. Enock Tikong. No matter what you do, find your purpose and you will find provision. If you'd like to know more about the Chosen Generation Band, you'd like to be a part, you'd like to tap in and help them move to the next level, please check out my social media sites. We are also going to share their social media sites so that we can get these conversations and these networks happening. Can we do that?
Yes.
Or am I just insisting on things you're not ready to do?
I am ready.
You've also got to be ready for that purpose to happen. It can happen just like that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for catching up with us and joining us on yet another episode of Sheila Lives Out Loud. Remember to hit subscribe to this channel, click on notifications, and then share. If there's something about this story that means something to you or will mean something to someone you know, please pass it along. Until the next episode, live out loud in all that you do. Bye for now.
If you're looking for somebody who loves you, look my way, look my way. If you're looking for somebody to praise you, look my way, look my way, look my way, look my way. If you're looking for somebody who loves you, look my way, look my way. If you're looking for somebody to praise you, look my way, look my way, look my way, look my way. Lord, I want to give you glory and honor just to your name. I just want to see your mighty power fall like rain. Lord, you have my heart, you have my soul, and one more thing that I want you to know. If you're looking for somebody who loves you, look my way, look my way. If you're looking for somebody to praise